Okay, hello everyone. Thanks for joining us. Welcome to the first ever Veterans Day virtual judo clinic hosted by Nanka and the Nanka Judo Yudanshakai and the U.S. Army. My name is Jason Uno, and I'm the Nanka Development Committee Chairman, and I'll be your host for today. This is hopefully the first of many cooperative efforts between Nanka and the U.S. Army, with potential virtual clinics in the future and certainly in-person events after the pandemic. We're looking forward to a very strong association. Since this clinic is interactive, I hope you guys are ready to work out and get a good sweat going. We have 3 superb clinicians lined up for you this afternoon. First of all, we've got Judo legend and voice of judo, Neil Adams, coming at you from London, England. Second, we have Tiago Gonçalves, assistant coach of the U.S. Armed Forces judo team, coming at you from Louisiana. And then finally, we have current U.S. Olympian Angelica Delgado, and she is coming from Florida. So after each instructional segment, there will be a short Q&A session, so please use your Q&A function on your Zoom window to send questions. Please do not use the chat function. Let's see. Okay, being that this is a Veterans Day clinic, we would like to recognize all the veterans who have proudly served this country. So if all you veterans could add a V next to your Zoom name tag, it will allow us to see exactly who you are. And thank you all for your service. Okay, we do have a piece of late breaking news. Sensei Hal Sharp was just promoted to Judan, that's 10th degree black belt. Many of you know him as a sensei from Gardena Dojo right here in Nanka. He's actually known worldwide as a superb judo instructor and pioneer. A lot of you probably have one or more of his videos or books. He's a good friend of my personal dojo, and I would like to convey a heartfelt congratulations on behalf of the judo world. Okay, let's get going. Have fun, work hard, and try to remember what you learn. You might want to take notes to reinforce your memory since we will be covering a lot of ground today. Okay, first up, living legend and master Ashi Waza, master of Ashi Waza and of the Juji Gatame. The voice of judo and 2-time Olympic silver medalist. One of my all-time heroes, Neil Adams. Adams Sensei, it's all yours.
Very big welcome, everybody, and welcome to this martial arts extravaganza. You're going to have 3, great clinicians giving you 3 hours of really great tips. And I know that we're really kind of restricted, aren't we, for areas and different things. Some of you might be in a dojo and many of you are going to be at home. But I hear that we've got over 150 out there joining us here. So I'm really glad to see you. Nikki, my wife, my beautiful wife, who, that's her hand, right, is going to be the roving camera. All right, and she's also a former Olympian for Canada at the '96 Olympic Games, former Pan American champion as well. And so she is pretty good with the old camera. So she'll try and get some really good close-ups, not too close up. If you see the blue light, it's not a heart monitor, all right? But what it is a microphone. So it's the only place we can put it so that we can get proper projection. Okay, because we've got restricted area, our warm-up is going to be within a restricted area. Obviously, we don't want coffee and everything going everywhere. We're going to be doing some movement as part of our warm-up and Ashi Waza as well. All right, so all I want you to do is do a little bit of space here, and all I want you to do is to move and move in your space. If you've got a fairly big space, then great, you're very, very lucky. And just changing from right stance to left and just moving around, okay? So I'm going to let you do it, and I'm going to join in as well because I need to get a bit warmed up as well. All right, so let's just go 2 minutes, just moving around, and I want you to change right stance to left stance because whatever we do, we're going to be doing different things on the right and on the left, both right and left, and it's going to be with our feet and with our body and with the kumakata and lots of things that I'm going to show you, all right, that we can do. Oh, that's the other thing. I hope that everybody has got a towel of some kind that they can tie in a knot. If you, because I know you haven't got what I've got, I'm going to show you what they are in a minute. And also the bands here, because we're not only going to be doing some uchikomi on the bands and how to do it properly, stance and body positioning and kazushi and suruti, everything working together. All right, so not only are we going to be doing that, but we'll look at the different kumakata as well that we can do and the difference that they make when we do certain movements and certain gripping strategies for different throws. So plenty for us to think about, and I'm going to introduce you to this bad boy here. We've got two different ones here, all right, and basically these have been developed to practice Ashi Waza and to get the right foot movement, not just the sweeping or reaping foot, but also the planting foot, the landing foot here, because that's where the power comes from. For any throw, whether it's uchimata, whether it's taetoshi, seoi-nage, whatever throw it is, Ashi Waza as well, we get a lot of the power from the leg, all right, the supporting leg. And so it's not just the sweeping. It's not how hard I can sweep this, but how I can project and get everything working together. Okay, so enough talking for a second, right? Let's just get this moving. And I want you just to move around right and left, 2 minutes, off we go. Let's just get it going. Just move around. And if I'm breathing a little bit, it's only because I'm working with you, all right? Or I'm trying to. It's right and left. And different body positions here. Try and use your area if you can. Imagine that you have somebody in front of you. So you have to now grip sleeve, lapel, move. All right, so you're using the suruti hand here on the jacket, here on the lapel to move your partner and direct them. This is what I call the direction hand. And this sleeve hand here is also the direction hand, but what it does, it gets us action reaction. And I'm going to use the bands to really demonstrate that. All right, before we move in for a throw, we need action reaction. Okay, just stop, just 1 second. Okay, so what I want you to do now is you're just going to take 1 step back. So it's 1 step back and you're going to just rotate 180 degrees, but with slightly bent legs. 1 step back, bent legs. 1 step back, bent legs. 1 step back, bent legs. Okay, so this is important because sometimes we step forwards. On this occasion, what I want you to do is to imagine that we're going to do the seoi-nage. Good example. But what we're going to do is when we step back, so, I mean, if you've got tatami, you can go from one line right to the other line here, and that's a really good indicator as to where you want to go. There. And every time, nice soft legs, not too bent, certainly not straight, okay? So we are going to go 5 one way, and then we're going to go 5 the other way, all right? Are we ready? Get ready. And I want you to imagine you've got hold of a partner's jacket because we use the hands and the legs both together. Okay, so step back, 1. Here we go. 2, 3, sorry, I lost count for a minute, 4 and 5, and then we're going to go other way, okay? So we're going to go 5 the other way. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Okay, good, excellent, good stuff. All right, so what I want you to do now is just split the legs. Split the legs. This is one of my favorite positions because once we split the legs and we get an even balance, this is my favorite technique anyway, the Tayatoshi movement. Once I split my legs for balance, equal balance, what I want to do is just point the toes inwards slightly. So just by pointing them in slightly here, the direction of the throw would be slightly off at an angle, just slightly, okay? So from the absolute split, just splitting and turning the feet inwards. So what we're going to do again, imaginary line if you're in a house, all right, if you've got a dojo, then great. In front of you, split legs and then rotate. Split legs and then just soften the legs. So I want you to soften the legs every time. Okay, so you're going to go just ahead. So we're going forwards. Are we ready? I'm going to count you through. Okay, and 1, and then just turn soft legs here and then over to the other line. 2, just turn in and just the diagonal there. 3, turn. 4, turn. And 5, and then turn. Okay, so now you're going to go the other way. Okay, so it's 1, turn. 2, turn. 3, turn. 4, turn. And 5, turn. Excellent. What I want you to do now, and this is really important, is that we're going to use the hands at the same time. So I want you to imagine that you've got your kumakata. I can show you a little bit more clearly on this. We're going to do a whole thing on this in a second, all right? But the whole point of a successful Tayatoshi, for example, is that we get the hands in the right place, and also that the hands work in conjunction with the legs. Because most Tayatoshis where the legs split, most throws actually fail because the hands get left behind, one of them. So maybe somebody has a really good kazushi, but they'll leave this hand here behind. And as it comes behind here, of course, it pulls us off balance. Often with Tayatoshi, maybe I can turn it around the other way. Often with Tayatoshi from here is that if this hand here is behind me here, then it pulls me over one of the support legs here, pulls all my weight over the wrong leg. So actually, this direction hand, this lapel hand here, it's really important that we keep it ahead of us. Okay, so we'll do that in a minute. So I'm very lucky. I've got this handy dandy little circle, and it's got a British me in it, in the middle of it. All right, and I have it for this reason. Okay, so actually what it's got vertical balance line, and it's got a horizontal balance line there that we're going to concentrate on. Obviously, if I rotate and I've got a hand that's in the wrong place, then it's going to pull me the wrong side of the balance line here. So what I have to do then is just readjust my balance to make sure that I have good balance in the right direction. It's what I call being off balance, but good off balance. When it's bad off balance, that's what pulls you backwards. We don't want that, all right? We want good off balance. Okay, so what I want you to do now is to think about the kumakata here. This is the kazushi hand, sleeve hand. This one here is the suruti hand, which is the lapel hand, or I call it the direction hand here. And I want you to do this movement first. So everybody, I'm going to 2 minutes of this now. We're going to go a minute on the right and then a minute on the left, okay? So are we ready? Just from here. And I want you to bend your legs and straighten them, all right? But I want you to imagine that you've got a wristwatch on this hand here. This is the kazushi hand, the sleeve hand here. And when we actually start to rotate here, we look at the wristwatch, okay? This one follows. This lapel hand has to follow. 99% of the time, when a taitoshi or a technique fails, it's when this one gets caught behind and you can't offload. So it's really important, this one, that it goes with it. So from here, 1 minute and off you go. One, just carry on. Just a nice, steady pace here. Just think of the pulling action. You've got the jacket, you've got the sleeve here, and it's a big pulling action, and your opponent is starting to come onto tiptoes here. Okay, that's excellent. Okay, you're going to go other side. Okay, so from here, and it's just that pulling action here. The sleeve, lapel, sleeve, lapel, wristwatch, sleeve, lapel, wristwatch here, and your head follows. Your head must follow. It has to follow that wrist there. And you can see here that what I'm doing is twisting the wrist here. It's not just a pulling action to me here. It's pulling out there all the time. Okay, and stop. Okay, quick breather just before we take it one step further. Okay. So what you're going to do now, I'm starting. Anyway, that's good, good sign. So we're going to go 1, 2, and then into the taitoshi position, and then just make sure that you can just rotate them. Feel comfortable in the legs, okay? 1, 2, and here. This one here, lapel hand, should be by the side, ready to offload forwards here. This pulling hand here is arching, going that way. All right, so the whole taitoshi movement here is working the hands and the feet together. All right, we're going to go 10 on the right, and then we're going to swap it over, and we're going to do 10 on the left. Now, just one point is that it doesn't have to be exactly the same both sides. I know that with the katas, we have to get almost identical, but actually what happens is that many of us will have just a little bit of a different pull on one side. So it might have a slightly different shape. That doesn't matter, okay? So don't worry, I never worry about that. I always worry about just being in the right position, ready to unload, and also getting the hands and the feet working together. Okay, here we go, set of 10. I'm going to count you through. One, just do 1 pull, 1 action. That's 1. 1 pull, 1 action. Just soften the legs here. 2. 1 pull, 1 action. 1 pull, 1 action. 1 and ready to offload. Okay, we're going to go 5. We'll do 5. All right. Just catch your breath. We're going to go on the other side this time. Okay, so it's 1 and 2. That was 2? Okay, oh, that was 1. That was 1. Okay, all right. My wife's counting for me here as well, which is quite interesting. Do you know what it is as well? Now I'm going to tell you, never forget to count. And most of us should be able to get to 10. Most of us. Okay, it's 1. Okay, here we go. On the other side, pulling action and 2. Pulling action and 3. Pull 4. Pull 5. Pull and 6. So I did 1 extra. All right, just in case. All right, just in case that you didn't do as many. And considering that you maybe couldn't count. Anyway, bonus, it's a bonus for 1. Okay, excellent, good stuff. Right, let's just have a little look how it relates to what we do on the bands. And then what we're going to do is, because I know that some of you haven't got partners. I know that some of you are stuck at home. I'm hoping that there's a lot of you who've got the bands, because the bands are an amazing bit of kit. I'm also hoping that they're not tire inner tubes that are too strong and too short, all right? Because what happens is, if they're too short and too strong, they will pull you back. So everything that we just talked about here, you can't actually do. You can only do half a rotation, and it's not a proper one as well. I see a lot of repetitions that people have been doing, and I'm going to have a little moan, all right? I've seen a lot of repetitions that people have been doing on the internet and going, yes, you know, having a go, but much better to do it properly and much better to do it right, okay? So I'd rather half the amount, but do it correctly. So how do we do it correctly? So we need a good length. So these are specifically longer, and they are of a resistance that I can actually get full rotation all the way round here. So I can do the pulling action and then rotate all the way around, okay? So what I want you to do now, if you've got bands, grab them. If not, then you're going to look at me, and also you're going to follow me, and I'm going to show you the grip here, which is really important, because what I'm doing is gripping them slightly different. I'm going to grip the bottom here as if I'm gripping the bottom of the judo gi here, which is the seam. And this wrist here is going to twist, all right? So what it doesn't do is just pull. It does a twisting action here all the time. All right, so let's have a little practice at that first of all. If you've got bands, use the bands. Get the different kamakata, the different grip. Forget about this one for a minute. Hold that one like that, all right, as if you've got the lapel, but forget about it for a second. So let's just do the pulling action here. If you've not got the bands, just 1 foot forwards here, and let's bend the legs here, set of 10 with the pulling action. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. And if I'm laughing, it's because my wife is putting fingers up here because she doesn't believe I can count. Okay, I'm going to swap the hands around. Okay, so this one now is my lapel hand. This is the one that turns. Remember that wristwatch, and remember the head follows it, and slightly different stance. And also, I want you to look at the legs, because my legs are going at the same time. So they're bending here. Okay, we're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Excellent. Okay, so this is the key point. Yes, excellent. Good stuff. This is the key point, because this is the fail thing. This is the one that fails. If we do a Chimata, for example, here, if this isn't in the right position, if the support foot isn't in the right position here, then it's really difficult to execute the technique. Nage, if the arm is back, it'll pull you off balance, all right, which isn't good, and very difficult to finish the technique. So this now has to come at the same place here. So you get the pulling action, and the Saruti hand goes just so that the forearm there is against the elastic there. Doesn't have to wrap round here. This one goes out. This one just touches. We're going to do a set of 10, all right? And let's make it strong, okay? Let's make it powerful with the grips. Got to be positive with the grips. Ready? And 1. Use your legs as well. Bend your legs. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Okay, so swap the hands round. Just get used to swapping the hands round. Change your stance just that little bit. So it's going out here, and 1, 2, don't forget the head, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Okay, excellent. Okay, so just catch your breath just before we do the next bit. Yes?
I have a question.
Okay.
Could you elaborate more on selecting the proper each component?
Yes, the proper selection. If you go through to NA effective fighting, then you will be able to see these particular ones.
We have 3 different.
We have 3 different strengths, strengths, yes. This is the middle one. They have a junior one as well. The junior one, obviously not so much resistance, and there's a heavier one, not necessarily for heavyweights, but for techniques where we're actually leaning away from the wall. So it enables us then to practice coaches and oaches here, and they pull us back. I'll show you the heavy ones, all right, before we finish, all right? They are substantially heavier, and that means that sometimes I could probably just about get away with it, but sometimes what happens is they do pull you back. And what we want is full range of movement, and this is the important thing. We must get the full range of movement, okay? Because when, for example, watching the YouTube's examples, sometimes we see the odd good one, right? But sometimes we see ones that are not complete rotations. Now, we must have complete rotations. Otherwise, you have no chance of throwing anybody in a forward direction. None whatsoever. Easier with Ashi Waza, easier with throws where it's ochi-kochis. But throwing somebody to the front, totally different. So what I'm going to do now, I want you to go, I want the feet to go a full 180 degrees around here, all the way around. And then what happens when you get to this stage here, I want you to pull this lapel hand or the saruti hand here just a little bit forwards. All right, so we're going to take our time with it so that we make sure that we get a full movement. All right, we're going to go 5 of these and we're going to make them strong. So it's nothing to do with speed. This is about making the movement strong. Practice the pull first, 1, 2, and then the rotation here. And I've split my legs for the taitoshi, but if you want to do the seoinage here, then you can. All right, and just finish it off here by pulling this saruti hand just that little bit forward, so that if you've got somebody on your back, you can offload them. Okay, so I'm going to count set of 5. These are 5 really strong ones. And you can do seoinage or taitoshi, your choice. 1, 2, rotate, and then just finish it off as if you're going to throw. Back to the same start. Here we go. 1, 2, rotate. Really just pull forward so you can feel it. The kazushi hand, this one here, doesn't wrap round. What I want you to do is arc it. So it's going in an arc, almost that way there, that diagonal there. People make the mistake of wrapping the band around the body, all right? Actually, the sleeve hand here is still pulling in a downward spiral, downward motion here. Think of somebody a lot taller, it would be a different downward spiral. But what happens is it pulls up to begin, not too far up, otherwise you'll just pull somebody onto their tiptoes. You need to just pull it upwards and then it goes round there. Okay, so did I count to 2 then? I counted 2. Right, we're going to do another 3. Ready? And pulling action, 2, and rotate round. And just as if you could finish it. 3, 1, 2, and rotate. 3, 1, 2, and your feet should be all the way facing that way, all the way around. Okay, you're going to swap it round. This is always the difficult part. This is why we're not doing it fast. This isn't about speed. This is about accuracy. And so often I see people getting hold of bands and they've got a clock, 30 seconds, many as they can, and they're just doing uchikomi incorrectly for 30 seconds. And that's not what we want. The whole idea of these is that we can practice correctly every time. Okay, we're going to do 5. Ready? 1, 2, 3, offload. 1, 2, 3, offload. 1, 2, 3. 2 more. 1, 2, 3. And last one. 1, 2, and 3. There. Excellent. Okay, so correct uchikomi, so important.
Wow.
And well, to get it correct, all right, repetition does not make perfect. I mean, we've heard that, haven't we? Repetition makes permanent. So if I see somebody, and it's one of the problems, putting a clock and putting skills in with circuits. Circuits just keep your push-ups, your press-ups, your sit-ups, whatever you put into your circuits, your battle belts. All right, if you're doing anything to do with technique, then you need to make sure that everybody is able to do it correctly, all right, because repetition makes permanent, all right, and so therefore we need to get it as correct as we possibly can. All right, and the other thing we can do with this is movement. So remember, we were doing the movement, just moving around left stance and right stance. All right, so now what we're going to do, make sure you've got the bands fairly tight, fairly strong. And what we're going to do now is move, not attack every time, but what I want you to do is to attack once you've moved a couple of steps. Okay, so just a couple of steps, you can come in, out, side, and attack. All right, we're going to do this for 1 minute. So just stop, just 1 second. Look at me. Everybody look at me. So this is slow, but correct. All right, so it's not how fast you can do them. It's not how fast you can rotate in and come back out again. This is about how you can fully rotate round, and then I'll give you plenty of time. Move and fully rotate round. Move, 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 in. Okay, so I'm going to go 1 minute then. Are we ready? And hajime, off you go. So movement, just, you can even put an Ashi Waza in if you want as well. And you can change from left to right. And if you want, you can just do a couple of kazushis and surutis and then attack. And then with movement here, same on the other side, kazushi, suruti, full rotation. If you want to do an Iliadis variation of this, then what he does, he really makes it strong and he rotates round and he really, really finishes it off in his mind, I think, as well as anything. All right, but when he throws people, he throws people. Okay, and stop. Good. Okay. All right, Ashi Waza. All right. If you've got one of these, then you can actually, yes, this is the Ashi Waza skimmer. All right, so this skimmer is something that we devised, that I devised with a friend, and basically what it does, it skims. So we called it an Ashi Waza skimmer. Now the reason that we got this is that two things when we're doing Ashi Waza. They're Ashi Waza different. Sometimes it's a sweeping action that we do, whether it's right or left. From here, it's extension from the hips for the Ashi Waza, correct position of the foot from the bottom of the foot. Now I'll have to excuse my big toes, my big horrible feet, please.
So ugly.
They are. My wife said that if she'd seen my feet first, then she wouldn't have married me. And I believe her, all right? Okay, so what happens is the feet have to make contact just above the black. So it gives you a really big target. So what we don't want is the feet to be too high. The other thing is that sweeping action is when we sweep the foot away from the support foot. And a reaping action, Kouchi, for example, is when we sweep towards the support foot. So if it's Sasai, for example, which is obviously lifting and blocking, then it's a different movement completely. If it's Harai Surukumiashi, then we can project still away from us, still a sweeping action. Diashi Barai or Kuriashi, of course, are smaller, shorter, but strong movements. Now, the beauty of this is that it won't carry on skimming. And also, the problem is if you've got your towel and you want to just tie it in a knot, put it down on the floor, it will do you for a little while till you can order some of these skimmers off naeffectivefighting.com. All right, but they're just coming in on the market. Literally, they are. What basically they do is they enable us to get the feet right. And I say feet because with Ashi Waza, people think it's always the sweeping foot that is the key point. Well, actually, the sweeping foot or reaping foot is not the key foot. The key foot is the support leg. This is the key one because we have to correct it, get it into the correct position in order to get power. Have you still got us?
Yeah.
All right, so where we put this support foot here depends on which direction we're actually projecting. And also, it works slightly different on the left. As all techniques do, it goes just a little bit different here than it does from here. The other thing is that we can use the hands at the same time. So if we have to demonstrate, for example, an Ashi Waza, we have to demonstrate off the sleeve side. So we need to keep control of the sleeve so that they can't put their hand down. So we need to, if it's right leg here, get the support leg in the right place here. Right leg, right hand down. Right leg, right hand. Right leg, right hand. And if it's the other way, it's left hand down. This is the sleeve I've got hold of here, and it comes downwards here in order that I can get the right control. The last thing is, with all techniques, all the power comes from the hips. A lot of the power comes from the core. So we need to connect the core for the Ashi Waza. People, if they haven't got the support leg in the right way, what they do is chop in order to get power. So they tend to do a chopping action for the Ashi Waza. If you put the foot a little bit back here, then we can open up the hip. All right, and that's what we need to do here, is we need to open up the hip. So, great. If you've got your belt or your towel on the floor, then it's just to project it here along and to get the hands going at the same time. Right and left, Diashi Barai, obviously anything that's going this way, Kuriashi 2 feet together. Diashi can actually step into it, or sometimes what happens is you can step away from it, and if you get the timing right, you can execute Diashi very sweetly on the back leg as well. All right, so hips we need to get in to the equation. When it comes to foot, it's getting the foot in the right way here. If I was doing it for a junior class here, it would be to readjust the back leg here and to get this foot in the right place. It's not a kick. We have to differentiate between kick and sweep. Yes?
Sure.
Yes, I mean, the difference is if I kick this, all right, then it lifts off the floor. All right, so, and sometimes what will happen is it'll topple over. So we don't want to kick it. What we want to do is to project. So we project it. Great thing for warming up if you've got a whole class here, because you can do all your different Harai Sura Komiyachi, you can do Kouchis here, and you could pass it from one to another. Great warm up and not so many injuries. All right, so a lot of my injuries came when I had full-time group, came when we played football at the beginning or murder ball at the end. All right, so it's crazy stuff, but if you've got something like this, then much, much better. The other thing about this, and this is what I wanted to point out, is that if you've got bands as well, then you can practice the sleeve grip on the side from here. And there. All right, so you've got the gripping and you've got the Ashi at the same time. All right, so it's a bit of both. Yeah.
If you're on your own.
If you're on your own, yeah. Part of this whole lesson was going to be how to get a partner, cooperative partner, as an uki. Unfortunately, my daughter couldn't get back from university, so I couldn't, because I normally use her. She's been my uki since she was very, very young. And I was going to show you how to adapt it to a cooperative uki. Because the thing is, and a lot of people think of Ashi Waza being one of the most difficult techniques to teach. But actually what happens is, if you've got somebody that is doing the right kind of reaction, all right, so say, for example, they're sweeping me. If I move to the side and I just go completely solid, or I don't want to move, or if I move the foot out the way, which a lot of people do with Ashi Wazas, then it's impossible to learn it. But actually, if as an uki I go along with the flow, so you imagine that my partner is here and they're going to sweep this leg here, all right? If they move at the same time, all right, it's the same kind of coordination that we can do with the skimmer, okay? Good start. The skimmer is a good start. And I'm not just doing that as a promotion, all right? I really believe in this little bit of kit. And we've got two different weights. We have a junior weight. The one I was using was the champion, and we've got a junior one as well. Oh, what do we have? Sorry.
Heavy.
Oh, yeah, we have a heavy and a lighter anyway. So we have two different weights. And yeah, and so you can use both, obviously. If you get, just come onto the website, then you should find that that will be fine. Okay. So, yes?
Sorry, about good off balance.
Yes.
Just to extrapolate that a little more, unpack a little bit more.
Okay, so
Sticking point.
I think that if I can pull this over to this, let's have a look at the circle that we have here. And it's in this It just so happens that it's in this position here at the end of the bands, because there is a sticking point for any good off balance and bad off balance. So for example, if I learn to do uchimata, if I'm doing uchimata and I try and stay on balance all the time, then what happens is, if uchikomi with uchimata, it's really difficult, because as I get to the top here, I'm trying to control it so that I can come back out and then hit with the uchimata again. So in other words, what happens is too much concentration on trying to get 10 out than getting one right. Okay, so actually, good off balance, and this is where I would have demonstrated on Brooke, but a good off balance is literally doing the full nagikomi. What I can demonstrate is, and we were showing it with the Seanagi, with the Tayatoshi, all right? But if, for example, the hands are not working in the right way, a bad off balance is where I am struggling to pull. Remember, I've got somebody who is either 60, 66, 73, or whatever, loaded up behind me. So if I haven't done action, reaction, in order to get them coming in my direction, then I have a problem. All right, so actually what we need to do is to do some kind of action reaction so that we can then, all our weight and our momentum is going forwards. Now, just because we go all the way forward, so say, for example, I'm doing a full complete throw and then I forward roll out of it, that is a good off balance. All right, that's a good off balance. A bad off balance is not getting the correct action reaction and getting the movement. Okay, so what I would say with this is that in order to get good off balance, what I want you to do, what you can do, and we see it a lot with Sodi at the moment, because Sodi Surukumi is a massive one, isn't it? People going onto the sleeves, and their big fight with the sleeves here, pulling the sleeves down. They either push it across here and then in for the Sodi, or it's push across here with the sleeve there. Imagine that I've got the sleeve, I push it across and then get the action reaction into whatever I'm doing. All right, so I did some uchikomi with a very dear friend of mine who's one of the greatest judoka of all time, Jean Quillon, who is a former world Olympic champion and one of the greatest, absolutely one of the greatest. And I said, just demonstrate the bands for me. So first thing he did was pull them down here and then rotate. Pulled them down here and then rotated. Pushed across, rotated round. Pushed across, rotated round. Everything that he did was about getting action here, reaction. Action, reaction. And then also what he did was that once he got the action there and reaction here, he'd always just do that extra little bit at the end. All right, so let's just do a little bit. Let's finish. We've only got a few minutes left. Time goes quickly when you're having a good time. All right, so what I want you to do is just push down here with the sleeve here, push down here, rotate round, and then good off balance. And I want you to go forwards if you can, okay? Same the other side. Let's go 5 to the left, 5 to the right. Push down here, all the way down, and rotate round. If you're pulling back, all right, then correct it. Push down, sleeve down, rotate, and finish. Push down here and rotate. Push, push, rotate. Push here, rotate. That was a bad one, okay? So don't finish ever on a bad one here. And let's try both together here. So pushing the hands down here. He had a really good Sodi and Sioi. He pushed it down here and then disappeared underneath. Push down and underneath. Push down and underneath. Good off balance, going forwards. Good off balance. Just before we go, for the ones that just wanted a quick look at the stronger bands, why I would use stronger ones. All right. These are quite substantially stronger. And so with these, it just supports my weight, good off balance forwards. So what it enables me to do is really, with backward throws from here, is really forcing good off balance forwards. So it's not just about touching for the kochi, but from here, it's really reaping for the kochi and getting the hands going at the same time. Ochi here and good off balance. The bad off balance is when it springs you back and you hit the wall bars at 1,000 miles an hour. That's why we got different weights. Anyway, all right, any questions? Now's the time if you've got questions to ask. You have two other incredible clinicians about to come on, all right? But see what happens when you're enjoying yourself, having a great time. I hope that you've picked up some really good things about using the bands and the Ashi Waza. Feet direction, good off balance, bad off balance. Kumakata, action reaction, which is a really good one. And also, if you're one at your club that has skills incorporated in your circuits, then I would say look at it very, very carefully. When you put a number on something and you have a look at it's all right you saying, oh, they're having a go, all right, but much better for them to have a go and to do it correctly. So much better to do the skills afterwards, get everybody tired doing the press-ups, sit-ups, and whatever you're doing, and then with these, concentrate on every one of the techniques being absolutely correct. Here, absolutely correct. Full rotations round, if you're doing the bands, 180 degrees every single time.
I'm going to try this first time I've done it.
Okay.
Answer like very goals.
Yes.
But we would like to, I'm not sure if I did that right. Give us your thoughts on what your judo means to you.
My judo is my life, you know, in so many different ways. I had a really good competition part of my life that was amazing, but it was relatively short, you know, and I thought, well, where do I go now? What do I do? And then my commentary came in, didn't it? And so I was hitting judo from a different angle, and people, the youngsters, for example, were recognizing my voice, and I'd turn up for a seminar, do the seniors knew who I was, and the kids, no clue. Right, but when I started to talk, they'd go, "Oh, it's him. Oh, it's that guy," and so it kind of gave me a different, something different, you know, to in judo, still involved in judo, and you know, at my age now, still able to move. I'm very, very grateful for that. I'm still working out, still keeping in fairly good condition, and still able to demonstrate. And I get so much pleasure out of doing some of these seminars and passing on my knowledge. So it's very much my life, and I love it. And of course, without it, I would never have met this lady here. All right. So we met at the 2000 Olympic Games, the best Olympic Games I ever had. But anyway, any other questions? I hope
Yes, Sensei Neil. Sensei Neil, I do have a couple of questions from some attendees.
Okay.
Yes, number one question was, could you elaborate more on selecting the proper bands, the stretchy bands?
Yeah, more information on selecting the proper bands. So it's really about weight and.
Well, it isn't about weight. So I would say that for anybody, any of the men, that the champions are fine, but
Easy, honey. Easy, tiger. Where you going?
excuse me, men and ladies.
Thank you.
The champions are fine. Juniors, for your junior, remember that you need to get full rotation round for your movements every time. Yes.
And rehabilitation.
Great for rehabilitation. I mean, if you've got, like, for example, I've had two big hip operations and also knee operations, and they were amazing because what I did was just slight rotations from here. In order to get my full rotations, I started off in square, then started to turn the feet slightly in, and then built up the rotational movement on the knee and with the hips, and progressed it. So absolutely amazing for rehabilitation, amazing. The other thing is, for the heavier weights who think, oh, I must have the heavyweight bands, that's not necessarily it. Much better to use those just for things that go away from you. The whole point of these is to get the hands right and to get full rotation round.
Which ones do you use?
I use the champions. All right, so the champions I think will suit most.
Okay.
Okay, I think we do. I do have a couple more questions here from the attendees. This one's actually a technical question. Does your taiotoshi differ even slightly when fighting same side, left to left or right to right, or left to right? Left
Does
versus.
taiotoshi differentiate even slightly when fighting left versus left or left versus right?
Only the way in. So, for example, if I did, imagine somebody left here, and so obviously I'd either come around the front leg, or I would really hit the front leg to knock it back and then across. If it was left against left or right against right, so imagine that we're both right here, then again, it enables me then to get a bigger movement with this leg going right the way round here in order to get into the position. So it's slightly, Jimmy Pedro, for example, being a lefty, has a more of an upright taiotoshi movement, but his is definitely to attack the front leg there and then just stamps across for it, and it's beautiful taiotoshi. It really is a great taiotoshi, and of course, being a lefty, he is a lot more proficient than most righties against lefties. It's a lot more proficient the other way around, and the reason being, 70% of us are right-handed. It's a right-handed world. Lefties have to fight more right-handers, and that's a fact. And so I must admit, when I fought lefties, I got pretty good at it. I fought 2 lefties in the final of World Championship, so I wasn't that bad at it. But if I got caught, it was by a lefty. And so, I had to work out a way of attacking the front leg here and then coming across. But the position was the same. I hope that answered your question. It was a bit of a roundabout one, but yeah.
I'll wait for just.
Okay.
Did you want me to read it, Jason?
Yes. Well, there's one. If Sensei could give his best advice.
Ooh, if Sensei could give his best advice.
Okay. Well, my best advice to anybody is that I kind of did give it a little bit earlier. Is that skills are so important, you know, to have a really good skills base. Some of my full-time students hated the fact that we did Ashi Waza all the time, every time as part of the warm-up. It was always to do with Ashi Waza and learning how to use the feet. It was all about Kazushi and the Suruti hand and get, you know, so what I was showing to you, I did every day with my full-timers at every level. So my tips to you are concentrate on the skills, try and separate your skills training from your physical work. I mean, when you get to higher level, different, of course it's different, because then you have to be able to operate techniques when you're tired. But I'm saying about your children and your lower grades and you know, coming up, don't skimp on your skills training. So make sure that it's very precise, that everything's working together, and go for quality rather than quantity.
Okay, I think that's all about time we have for now.
Okay, well, I see. All right.
Oh, did Sensei have one last thing to add?
No, it's just he can't hear you. He can only hear me.
Yeah, I was. All
okay.
I was going to do was just thank everybody, and it's been an absolute pleasure. That hour just went like that, and I wish my two other clinicians who are just about to follow all the very, very best, and you know, you are going to have an amazing time with them. Two hours still to come.
We'll just we'll answer any other questions in the chat after we sign off. We'll type them in.
Yes. If you've got any questions anyway, just come through to us, naeffectivefighting.com, and we will answer any of your questions. And you can catch us on social media. We're on it everywhere. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much, Sensei. Terrific job as always. I've seen a lot of your videos and been to some of your clinics in person, and I'm always learning something new, always. So let's see. One thing, everybody, if you're interested in the equipment that Adam Sensei was using, please be sure to check out www.neiladamsjudo.com and neiladamsjudo.info. You'll be able to get a hold of some of the equipment that he was using today. Okay, we have to take a quick break now, so everybody grab some water if you need it, and we will be right back.